BookTube, it's Eleanor here, and today I'm going to be doing a talk on Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. I'm going to be discussing my thoughts on the book, and then I'm going to be comparing and discussing my thoughts on the adaptation that was made. It's an ITV 92-minute adaptation with Felicity Jones playing the part of Catherine Morland. But before we get into that, let's talk about the book. So as you know, I've been making my way through the Austen books one a month, and I started with Pride and Prejudice and I loved it and I gave it 5 stars. I then last month moved on to Emma, which I also loved and gave 5 stars, and actually Emma possibly peaked, became my new favourite over Pride and Prejudice, which was really exciting. So I went into Northanger Abbey with really high hopes. I knew I really enjoyed Jane Austen's writing style, and I was really hoping for an exciting story. Unfortunately, this one didn't provide me with as much interest as the other two. I think my main criticisms of this particular book was there was a lot fewer characters to get your teeth stuck into and to pick out your favourites, and the plot was a lot more basic and formulaic and felt very predictable, whereas the other plots seemed to have a lot more going on, a lot more different threads and side characters, which was part of the enjoyment. It really made it feel like a sort of bustling type of book, and that you were really getting to know how things were at the time. I really enjoyed in this one though that Catherine Morland, our main character, has a love of novels, and obviously as a book lover myself, I really enjoyed that aspect, and she's got such a wild and vivid imagination. She imagines herself in all of these novels, and everything becomes bigger and greater in her head because she's playing them out as if they were novels in some of her racy romance books of the time. Something I also found very interesting, and I find this with all Jane Austen books, is the social commentary of the time. Things like you can't say hello to someone at a party unless you've been formally introduced, and so Catherine and her benefactor, I suppose, Mrs. Allen, are at a party and they don't know anyone, and so they can't talk to anyone, and it just seems ludicrous. It's just hilarious, like the social conventions of the time and how people had to act, and what was seen as being a bit racy and what was seen as improper. I just find that really, really interesting. So apart from those things, as I say, the plot wasn't there for me, and there weren't enough characters to get my teeth stuck into. So I did enjoy it, but it's probably my least favourite Austen so far, and I gave it 3 stars. So I went into the adaptation thinking that perhaps it would just bring to life the story, and that itself wouldn't be enough to make it as enjoyable as the others, but I couldn't have been further wrong. I really loved how they have adapted Northanger Abbey for this 92-minute episode, I suppose. Felicity Jones plays a really good Catherine, and it's full of these sort of cut scenes when she's thinking about the novels, and you know, and there she is in the novel, and you're seeing her imagination come to life with her white flowing dressing gown and a man coming in to try and ravish her. And I just found that really, really funny, and really brought out the humour that I think was occasionally lacking in Northanger Abbey. It was there, but I think this really brought it to life much more seeing it on the screen, because obviously when you're putting something on the screen, you can cut big chunks of the social commentary out and just show it as the story's going along. That meant that in this the plot moved a lot faster, and so there wasn't that sort of lag or that sort of slowness to it. It really moved along at quite a fast pace, which I enjoyed. One thing I really liked as well that I struggled with a little in the book was in the book there is Catherine's sort of love interest, the man that she's interested in, Mr. Tilney, and in the book you don't really get any vibes that he feels anything towards her other than friendship and having a bit of banter, but in the adaptation you can really see the chemistry between the two. You can see those looks and the way they look at each other, the way certain things are phrased, and I think that really helped to show us as the sort of watcher what the feelings were between the two, because I think there wasn't that sort of romantic tension built up in the book as much as you saw it in the adaptation, which I really enjoyed. So I really enjoyed the adaptation. I thought it really told the story very well. It worked in this type of format, in the sort of visual format, much better I feel than possibly on the page, where it just felt a little bit long and slow because there weren't enough characters to sort of meet out the story, so to speak. So if I was going to rate the adaptation, I would give it a solid 4 stars. Definitely not my favourite story in terms of Jane Austen's that I've read so far, but still really enjoyable, and I'm really pleased that I read it. And I would definitely suggest, if you've read the book and thought it's okay, I think if you can get hold of the ITV adaptation with Felicity Jones, then you might enjoy the hour-and-a-half watching experience. Anyway, that is it from me, and let me know in the comments down below what you thought of Northanger Abbey if you've read it, and what you thought of the adaptation if you've watched it, and let's chat. Bye for now, BookTube.